The life simulation game that could challenge The Sims. Imagine this. You've spent years lost in the virtual worlds of The Sims, building houses, raising families, and controlling every aspect of life, only to find that it's starting to feel too familiar. Now, what if I told you there's a game out there that promises to shake everything you thought you knew about life simulation? A game that doesn't just imitate The Sims, it dares to reinvent it. Meet Enoy, the game. That could challenge The Sims for the throne. For over 2 decades, The Sims has ruled the genre with no real competition in sight. But now, Enoy steps into the ring, a game that brings something new to the table. Control, freedom, and an unsettling twist. You're not just building homes or simulating relationships, you're living in a world where anything can happen, and nothing feels quite right. As you take your first steps into this strange new universe, you feel a sense of excitement and unease. It's like stepping into a fever dream. The streets are wide open, the possibilities endless, but the strange glitches, bizarre characters, and hauntingly off-kilter visuals leave you wondering, what's lurking just beneath the surface? It's not just about playing a game anymore. It's about surviving in a world where everything feels like it's teetering on the edge of something darker. So, is Enoy the next evolution of life simulation, or is it a chaotic mess waiting to implode? Stick with me, and let's dive into a game that will make you question everything you thought you knew about virtual life. First impressions. What makes Enoy feel like a breath of fresh air? If you've spent countless hours crafting homes, building families, and creating entire lives in The Sims, then stepping into Enoy will feel oddly familiar, but also like stepping into something altogether new. From the character creation tools to the gameplay mechanics, there's no mistaking that Enoy draws heavy inspiration from The Sims. But here's the catch. It doesn't just mimic the genre, it dares to evolve it. The first thing that strikes you when you jump into Enoy is the freedom. Gone are the days of being confined to small, predefined neighborhoods. In Enoy, you get an open world, a sprawling landscape where your character can drive, explore, and interact with every inch of their environment. It's the kind of freedom that The Sims has always hinted at but never fully delivered. Now, for the first time, you can control your character's every movement, not just within the walls of a house, but across an entire city. Want to go on a spontaneous road trip? You can. Want to change the scenery from suburban calm to bustling urban streets? You've got the power. And then there's the character creation. For Sims players, it's almost second nature to dive into a character editor and start designing your perfect or perfectly chaotic life. Enoy takes this familiar feature and amplifies it with more depth and customization than you could have imagined. But it doesn't stop at the basics. No, here you're not just adjusting facial features. You're creating AI textures that could make your character look like a walking nightmare or a futuristic supermodel. You get to design every detail, from the clothes they wear to their very skin, which adds an element of control that feels surprisingly empowering. For longtime Sims fans, there's an almost nostalgic thrill that comes with these familiar mechanics, but what really sets Enoy apart is the new possibilities it offers. The addition of cars, yes, you can actually own and drive them, is a game changer. Imagine racing down city streets, your character navigating the world in a way that was never possible before. It's not just about the destinations, it's about the journey. The sense of freedom that comes with being able to hop into a car and explore is a level of immersion that The Sims simply couldn't provide. The game is bursting with ideas that feel fresh yet nostalgic, like a dream come true for anyone who has ever wished for more depth in the life simulation genre. It's exciting to see such a beloved formula be pushed forward in a meaningful way. But, as with anything new, there's still more to uncover, and not everything is as polished as it could be. Sure, Enoy feels like a breath of fresh air, and its innovations are enough to make your heart race. But as we start digging deeper, it's clear that this game still has a long way to go before it truly realizes its potential. The excitement is there, but so is the uncertainty. What lies ahead? Let's find out together. The uncanny and bizarre. A strange first encounter. The more you dive into Enoy, the more it feels like you're slipping into a fever dream, one where the rules of logic and reason seem to blur and twist. At first, it seems like a regular life sim, but as you spend more time in its world, you begin to realize just how weird it really is. From magical cats running corporations to strange AI textures that seem more at home in a nightmare than a simulation, Enoy doesn't just break conventions. It feels like it forgot what they were entirely. Let's start with the most bizarre feature, the AI texture creator. Now, if you've ever dreamed of crafting your own unique characters, Enoy delivers. But instead of offering sleek, polished design tools, this game opens up a strange, almost unsettling world of creation. You can input any text prompt, and in return, Enoy spits out a design, one that's often nightmarish and utterly bizarre. Want a character with stitched-up flesh and too many teeth? Go ahead. Need some unsettling eyes on the inside of their skin? Sure thing. The designs might not be practical or beautiful, but they certainly add a kind of twisted charm to the game. While the AI texture feature is undeniably odd, it's a glimpse into the kind of experimentation Enoy encourages. Some might call it a gimmick, but it's also oddly captivating in its own way. It's not about making perfect characters. It's about pushing boundaries, taking the familiar and twisting it into something a little darker, a little stranger. It's this kind of creative chaos that makes the game feel so fresh, albeit in the weirdest way possible. Character customization, too, is both impressive and unsettling. In the creator, you can spend hours perfecting your character's features, adjusting every little detail to your liking. Some models look stunning, almost lifelike, with intricate details that would make The Sims envious. But as soon as you step into the game world, that's when things get strange. The lighting, for some reason, transforms your beautiful creations into grotesque, distorted versions of their former selves. Faces that looked perfect in the editor are now hauntingly off, as if they've stepped out of a horror movie. It's disorienting, and not in a way that makes you want to run for the hills, but more like the kind of unsettling curiosity that makes you want to keep playing, just to see what happens next. But as weird as the textures and character designs are, they're nothing compared to the real surprise, the world around you. In the next section, we'll take a closer look at how Enoy lets you shape your environment, and just how unsettling it can get when you realize you have control over everything, especially when everything around you starts to feel more like a dream or a nightmare. The world of Enoy, a playground with endless possibilities. One of the most exciting aspects of Enoy is its open world, an expansive city where you're no longer confined to your house or a small neighborhood. For the first time in a Sims-like game, you can leave your front door and explore the entire world around you. Want to take a stroll through a bustling city? You can. Want to hop in a car and drive through the streets like you're in a movie? That's possible too. But what makes Enoy truly unique is how it lets you control not just your character, but the entire environment. Imagine this. You're walking through a pristine, perfect city, everything clean and orderly. But what if you want to shake things up? With just a few taps, you can change the weather to a heavy storm, summon fireworks to explode across the sky, or, if you're feeling particularly adventurous, turn your beautiful city into a post-apocalyptic wasteland. Yes, you can watch as the trees wither, buildings collapse, and the streets turn into a dark, eerie landscape. It's like The Sims meets Silent Hill, but with your own personal touch, creating a world that reflects your wildest and possibly most chaotic ideas. What makes this even more intriguing is the City Management tab. Here you can fine-tune every aspect of the environment, from the cleanliness of the streets to the look of the billboards. The game gives you so much freedom that you can project YouTube videos onto these billboards just because you can. Why not? It's a strange little feature, but it adds a layer of bizarre fun that makes you wonder what else you can experiment with in this world. It's not just about playing a game. It's about experimenting with the very fabric of the city, bending it to your will. But as with anything new, there are still a few growing pains. For all its ambitious ideas, Enoy doesn't always get it right. There are moments where the world feels a bit unfinished or glitchy, where the excitement of creating chaos clashes with the limitations of the game's systems. But even in these moments, the potential for something truly groundbreaking shines through. So, while there's no denying that the world of Enoy is a playground full of possibilities, it's still a world that needs a little more time to fully come into its own. Gameplay and bugs, a rough diamond. Still in the making. Let's be honest, Enoy is far from perfect. While the concept and potential are incredibly exciting, the game is still in its early stages, and it shows. Frequent crashes, bizarre character, behaviors, and strange glitches make Enoy feel more like an unfinished experiment than a fully realized game. It's like the developers gave us a peek into what could be an incredible world, but didn't quite finish painting the picture. And as much as the game's open world and ambitious features shine, the technical issues can be frustrating at times. But here's the thing. These bugs don't ruin the experience. They add a strange kind of charm to the game. Take, for example, my little experiment of locking my Zoe character in the bathroom and seeing how long it would take for him to die. Spoiler alert, it took forever. But honestly, that's part of the fun. You end up creating your own entertainment, turning the game's glitches and oddities into a quirky adventure. It's like the game knows it's not perfect, and it encourages you to just go with the flow and have fun with it. Despite the bugs, there's real potential here. The features are ambitious, and the ideas are fresh and exciting. The open world, the customizable environments, the strange AI textures, all of it is so unique that it's hard not to get excited for what could come next. If the developers can fix the bugs and refine the gameplay, Enoy could evolve into something really special. So, is it worth your time now, or should you wait for the updates? Well, if you love experimenting and don't mind a few hiccups along the way, dive in now. But if you're hoping for a smooth, polished experience, it might be worth holding off for a little longer. The potential is there. It just needs a little time to shine. Final thoughts. Should you buy Enoy? Enoy is a game full of promise, especially if you're the type of player who loves experimentation and pushing the boundaries of what a life simulation can be. The ability to control your character. In a vast open world coupled with the strange, quirky features like customizable AI textures and the freedom to manipulate your environment, makes Enoy a truly unique experience. It's a game that keeps you coming back for more, simply because there's always something new to discover or experiment with. However, as much as Enoy offers exciting new possibilities, it's still a work in progress. The bugs and unfinished aspects of the game are hard to overlook. Frequent crashes, character glitches, and incomplete gameplay elements make it difficult to fully recommend at this moment. The core gameplay feels a bit shallow, and you may find yourself frustrated at times by the technical issues that come with a game still in its early access phase. So, should you buy Enoy? If you're a fan of quirky, experimental games and don't mind a few bumps along the way, Enoy is absolutely worth checking out. There's something special here, but it's still in its rough form. If you're looking for a polished and complete experience, though, you might want to wait for the developers to iron out the kinks. What do you think? Will you give Enoy a shot now, or are you holding off until the bugs are fixed? Let us know in the comments.